Heading into the 12th week of this college football season, Baylor's Dave Aranda and Utah's Kyle Whittingham are preparing for the matchup between their two teams in Waco on Saturday. Both coaches took question about their upcoming game at their weekly press conferences on Monday. Let's dive in and hear what the coaches had to say about their next game, next opponent, and their seasons in broader terms. 2 weeks ago, questions about Dave Aranda's job security were swirling. This week, the Baylor AD was in the news, and that was how Dave Aranda was forced to start off his presser.
Yeah, I just think all of those questions, I understand the interest in them. Our focus is just trying to get ready to play a game. This is just a huge game for us. This is a game we need to win. We're in an instance where, similar to last year, we have to win all the rest of these games, and the focus needs to be on 1-0 today and 1-0 tomorrow and 1-0 the next day and stack those up, so that we can get a 1-0 on Saturday night, And so very much for me, the focus is that. And, I think all of these things as they play out will play out however they play out. But, we have to win this game, and we have to play our best. This is a team that's embarrassed a fair amount of teams, and we're not looking to be that next team.
A rather diplomatic answer from the Baylor head coach. But given the underperformance of his squad so far this year, his answer is right. He needs his guys to focus on how to keep playing the way they just did against UCF 2 weekends ago. Like so good, at least compared to how they had looked this season, that the bye week was almost unfortunate, wasn't it?
Probably so. Yeah, probably so. I think though the energy was good today, and we talked about this too last week in the practices that we had, how important it is, to start fast and to do the things that we've been really working hard to do and have failed to do up until this last one. And so I think everyone's on the same page of what the prescription is and what has to happen here these last couple games.
Utah is also coming off their second bye week of the season, and Coach Whittingham detailed what it meant for his Utes.
Bye week was productive. We pretty much followed the same exact format as we did in bye week number 1. So not much change there. We felt like that was a pretty good way to handle it, and so we repeated it. No reason to change a bunch. We'll be back on the field today in full pads, front load the week, just like we did again the last bye week, and taper down and be ready to go play Baylor on Saturday. Baylor's a very talented football team. I can tell you right now, they've got a lot of good players, a lot of athleticism, length, and they've had some good wins this year, some tough losses. But they're a quality football team. There's no doubt about it. Got to go to their place.
Now, heading into what should be a temperate Waco Saturday, Utah has a lot of possibilities ahead of its team as they sit at 4-2 in the Big 12 and number 13 in the CFP rankings. So, how much of the bye week was a mental reset to prepare to reach loftier goals?
Well, a great deal, and also focusing in on Baylor. We got a great start on our game plan for the next opponent. But yeah, we've had discussion, team meetings and where we're sitting, and but again, all we can do is take care of our part, and that's job one, and that starts with Baylor this week. But we feel like we're 7-2. Everyone would like to be 9-0. We're not, but we're still in the hunt, and we're playing some good football right now. And, I think we've had a couple good outings the last 2 outings.
Moving on to the game itself, note number 1 on the Bears from Coach Whittingham was about the dangers of Baylor quarterback Sawyer Robertson.
Got to try to make him uncomfortable. If he just sits back there and has all day to throw and can throw to those, they got 3 really productive receivers, a really productive tight end, catches everything. They also have a really good back. He was a 1,000-yard back last year, and he's closing in on 1,000 this year. So they've got weapons around him, and the offensive line is playing efficiently. So, yeah, he's number 1 thrower in the league as far as yards per game. I believe he's number 1 in the league in total offense per game. And he's got a good supporting cast. He does not run as much as the quarterbacks that we faced this year, but he likes to beat you from the pocket with his arm. And so we've got to find a way to not let him get comfortable back there and just go through his progression. We've got to speed things up.
Man, Kyle is doing my job for me listing off those stats. What a great guy. And what he said about Sawyer not running as much has been a question for the Waco media all year, frankly. Aranda was once again asked about that topic this week.
I think anytime that there can be 5 guys out in the route, and whether it's a horizontal stretch or a vertical one, the pass rush lanes are tested when the quarterback can scramble. And we were able to, the 5 or 4 yards that he gets can make it an easier third or fourth down. And that showed up in this last game. And, the team we're about to play plays a ton of man coverage. And so generally guys are going to be close together and stuck on one another. And, the ability to get separation is always a challenge. And so to elongate a thing and to kind of create more time, the scrambling to throw or the scrambling to run if guys' backs are turned is always a thing.
And Whittingham's mention of Baylor tight end Michael Trigg was also mirrored by Aranda, including a comparison to a former SEC star tight end.
Yeah, he's a matchup problem. I remember at LSU, we played Florida, and we won the game. They put too many points on us 2019 year. I forget the name of the tight end they had. It was a matchup problem. And Trigg would be similar. But I think, Trigg's, whereas the guy that year particularly, he was kind of moved out. He was the X. Trigg can be that. He can be inside. He can block. He can do all the things that a normal Y would do. But, for sure he really excel as a U, So he can do all of that. So the whole collective thing, he's the only one.
Was it Kyle Pitts?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
Yeah. He was similar to Trigg in this matchup. Like, who do you cover? Who do you put out there? Yeah.
So Trigg, Robertson, and the rest of the Baylor offense need to go out and prove their mettle against a statistically stout Big 12 defense for the second game in a row. We will get to some of those numbers in a bit, but just know the Utes are giving up barely over 14 points per game through their 9 games so far this season. How have they gotten there?
Well, we're playing well in the red zone, which keeps points off the board, so that's a big part of why we're only giving up 14.3 or 7, whatever the number is, and so that's a big deal. I think that the secondary has played really well this season. As you mentioned, we're top 2 or 3 in the league in pass defense, and so that's another big part of it is we're not allowing, you talk about us getting chunk plays, we're not allowing a bunch of chunk plays, which helps us. But Coach Scally and his staff doing a great job schematically. We got a lot of good players on defense. There's no question about that. All 3 levels are really solid. And so, we got to keep it up for 3 more weeks, I guess.
Whittingham was able to talk results there without being pressed on scheme specifics that produced them. But Aranda offered insight to the schematic identity of the Utes defense.
For as long as I've known, whether it was back when I was with Coach Anderson, Gary Anderson at Utah State, and we played Utah, it was 2012, I want to say, or I think it was 2012, and longer even before that. And so Gary used to be the DC at Utah, and so just man coverage, our very first day install was under 1, and all those Wisconsin LSU days, I was saying under 1 was our first day install. And so just when you live that way, it's like, hey man, I don't care who knows, I don't care what comes out, we're going to match it up and we're going to lock guys up. And so when you're playing a team like that, it takes matchups, it takes attention to detail on splits, right? It takes timing, it takes a scrambling quarterback. There's a fair amount of things that are called to attention to be able to move the chains. And so it's a tough matchup. Not a lot of teams in our league just play man. Utah is one of them.
And not a lot of teams can match the stats that the Utah defense is posting right now, especially against their schedule. 2 weeks ago, I highlighted UCF's defense that Baylor promptly exposed. Heading into the 2 teams' respective matchups with Baylor, Utah is giving up fewer points per game and fewer rushing yards per game, getting more tackles for loss per game and more sacks per game, as well as allowing lower percentage of 4th down conversions and red zone scores. Utah's in the same ballpark as UCF was on 3rd down conversion percentage, pass yards per game, total yards per game, and first downs allowed. Utah has done all of that against a tougher schedule than UCF and has turned it into 3 fewer losses than the Knights. Let's not forget about the Utes' offensive abilities, which far outclass UCF's in points per game, rush yards per game, pass yards per game, overall yards per game, and 3rd down conversion rate. Dave Aranda was asked about the Utah running attack in particular in multiple ways on Monday.
Is this the best running team y'all would have faced?
It's the most
in terms of
unique.
numbers, I guess?
I think so. Yeah. Numbers-wise, yes. It's the most unique for sure. I think they present challenges in surfaces and in angles. And then, every Utah team that I've ever known has just been really physical. So this is hitting all three of those marks. A lot of quarterback run, though, too. And so I think a lot of it is set up for the quarterback to run. And so our name for it is bash, but, there'll be a running back run this way, and then there'll be a quarterback run this way. And so you got to be really disciplined on, are you on the East Coast or are you living on the West Coast, and don't get them mixed up. Yeah, I would compare the run game that we're playing similar to like a wing T offense in a way that, there's angles, there's wings and things that they present. And so if, depending on, do you adjust by front or stunt, or do you adjust by coverage, like roll coverage down? If they got extra people over here, an extra surface over here, is it the front that adjusts? Is it the coverage that adjusts? Once you make that adjustment, the answers are already built in, and they're coming back with the other thing. And so you have to have a fastball, and you have to have a curveball, and the motion and the release need to look the same. So I think it's very much that. I think anything beyond that, then you start to get in your own way, because they're very efficient in what they do. It happens very fast.
And on Utah's side of things, they are wanting to find ways to stretch defenses vertically more with their passing attack.
Yeah, that's been a topic pretty much all season, the deep balls and the chunk yardage. Just got to keep dialing them up, first of all. We got to call enough of a percentage of them that hopefully we can connect on some. But that is something that certainly is, we're aware of and has been a focal point to try to get a few more shots in there. But you got to do what you do best. Right now we're running the ball really well, and so that's our bread and butter at this point. And but again, sure would help the offense to get some more chunk plays, to not have to have those 12, 14 play drives to get in the end zone.
And then in the Utes' run game, sophomore running back Wayshawn Parker is hitting his stride as the lead back.
Well, first of all, we're giving him more opportunity, which is a good thing. He's had more carries. He's shown a lot of explosiveness. You talk about explosive throws, you also need explosive runs. That's another way to get explosive plays, and so he's given us several of those. He's a really good back, and he is really starting to hit his stride. As I mentioned, I think it was after the press conference, after the game Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago against Cincinnati, that he has really separated himself right now as running back one. He's the guy that is our lead back, and deservedly so.
Another key weapon for quarterback Devin Dampier has been redshirt senior wide receiver Ryan Davis. Utah's number 9 has reeled in 56 passes for 650 yards and 4 touchdowns this year, making him the reliable top option. So will opponents like Baylor start committing multiple guys to shut him down?
If they haven't by now, he's been catching balls since the first game, and so he certainly has got the attention of opposing defenses, but they really haven't seemed to make a real concerted effort to bracket him or completely take him away. So we'll see. Coach Aranda is a really good defensive guy, and we'll see what they have in mind this week.
Beyond those key weapons, the Utes have utilized a few two-way players this year, and Coach Whittingham offered updates on their expected usage rates moving forward.
Yeah, I think Lander played 20-something snaps on defense, or offense rather. Snowden's has slowed down with the emergence of Daniel Bray. He's doing a lot of things that Smith did or was going to do, and so Daniel has really allowed us to let Smith focus more just on defense. Jackson Benny has showed up here and there on offense, and he'll continue to show up a little bit down the stretch here. But really, the answer to your question is, yeah, you'll see Lander continue to get some reps as a second tight end. You'll see Jackson Benny sprinkled in there, and you probably won't see much at all of Smith.
Moving on to the Baylor defense, more four-man fronts were used against UCF, and to good effect, holding the Knights to just 74 yards rushing. So will we see more of this against Utah?
Yeah, we're able to affect some of the run game with just the leverages on the perimeter, whether it be by our techniques over there or our stunts. And, you try to be able to do what best matches the opponent. And so I think every week's kind of been a different a different setup based upon what's needed. What's interesting with Utah is there's a lot of 3- and 4-man surfaces. They'll play with 2 tight ends and even more tight ends than that, 3 tight ends at a time. And their surfaces are really big people. And they also will crack and load. So they'll crack on the outside and load up on your corner. So like their biggest people on our littlest people. So all that presents a challenge, which is going to be different than what it was with UCF. And so we're still finalizing those things right now.
Okay, but what really made that run defense click 2 weekends ago? And can that be carried forward into the Utah game?
I don't know. After you draw stuff and walk through stuff and talk through stuff and do it however many times, I think the understanding or the hope is that it's finally going to sink in at some point. And, it was good to see it. Guys were playing fast, I thought. The guys were playing kind of free. And we're going to need that in this one. I think what we saw with the UCF is very challenging on angles and +1 run game. And it's kind of a prelude to what's coming here with Utah. And so I think they're very creative. There's not a lot of teams that have their run game. And they might be one of one, And so teams have struggled with it. We've been given an extra week to kind of get ready for it. And so that needs to pay dividends here.
Not exactly overflowing with confidence. Either way, on to health updates. Coach Whittingham was asked about a couple of guys, and the reporter used single names, so I'm guessing that the Devin and Smith were quarterback Devin Dampier and cornerback / all-purpose athlete Smith Snowden.
Good. We feel good about them, and we'll find out more today because they've had 1, 2, 3 days off, and so hopefully they're in a pretty good place today. So we'll find out more today. We won't tell anybody what they're doing, but you get to read the report. Wasn't it come out on Wednesdays? Yes. Wednesday.
So yeah, look out for the first player availability report tonight. And as for Baylor, once again, the question was about starting running back Bryson Washington. Should the Bears consider sitting him around a bye week to help him heal?
We've talked about it. Bryson is rolling with the ones, looking good. It's always the bye has kind of interrupted these. It gives you kind of the anticipation that, hey, we're going to, take off running from this spot on. And I think that's probably the feeling right now with just how he looked this morning and even how he looked at the end of the week last week. It's certainly given us more time with some of the younger running backs to continue to hone in on them and, the blitzes and everything that's going to be coming their way Saturday night. But yeah, he's looking really good right now. It's the best he's looked.
On to some bigger picture topics. For Utah, that's a chance to make the Big 12 championship game and even possibly the college football playoff. So first up, Whittingham's response about the Big 12.
Yeah, could get interesting here as we go along. We're not really concerned with it. I mean, we're concerned with it, but we don't focus on it. We're still in the hunt mathematically, as a couple teams are got losses this past weekend. But we just got to keep doing our thing. We just know that we have to win this week. I mean, that's our bottom line. And if we are able to get a win on Saturday, then we stay in the hunt, and we'll see what happens with everybody else.
And how do the Utes think about the playoff rankings?
Our thinking is we're really focused on Baylor right now, and we just know that we don't have any margin for error. We understand that, and so I think it was a nice show of respect for our program from the committee to rank us where we were ranked, but again, we got to take things 1 week at a time, and that's exactly what we're doing this week, and not to not have a better answer for you, but that's just how we're handling it.
As for the Bears, Aranda is likely coaching for his job, and Baylor can secure a bowl bid with just one more win. So how important is the way the Bears finish the season?
I think it's really important. Yeah, really important. I think, we have choices to make, and how we show up for a practice, how we show up for meetings, how we show up to whatever negativity or just any of that. And so it's like the biggest, the spot that we're in right now is, man, don't succumb to feelings, right? Make a choice. I'm gonna show up this way, right? I'm gonna fight it this way, right? I'm gonna be this, and so that's a day-to-day thing. That's hard to do because you can just get caught up in it, noise or just whatever it is, and so that's a huge deal. I mean, our players would take that with them when they go from here, and so it's just way important.
And how much value is there in getting to a bowl game?
I think it's pretty important. I think it's something that we need to be doing here, and beyond. I think it's important to do. I think we've got the team to do it. These last 3 games are really good teams, and they're playing really good football right now. You'd argue they're probably playing the best football this year that they've been playing, whether it's earlier in the year. And so it's a big challenge for us, but I'd bet on these guys and this team.
And as the obvious underdogs, does Baylor play into that role to find some mental freedom or a chip on their shoulder?
I try to let them know, and I think this is a game that we need. This is a game that we have to play well in. This is a game that we've got guys that want to play at the next level and want to do all the things. They need this game. And we as a program need this game. So it's an important one.
That's all for this week. The Bears and Utes kick off at 6 p.m. on Saturday on ESPN2 for what I believe Dave Aranda may have called an important game, once or twice. But you know what's really important? Listening to your mother. Tell him, Kyle.
I know I need a haircut, but my mom said no more hats at press conferences, so here I am.
Enjoy Week 12, everybody. Join Sikkim 365 Premium on a $1 for 1 month trial to read our experts' notes and insights. Know about high school commits, off-season transfers, coaching staff changes, and so much more before the rest. Also, download the Sikkim 365 app on your iPhone today to get instant notifications of breaking news, read up on the latest inside info, easily interact with other Baylor fans on our forums, and get alerts for anything published by your favorite staff members.